Welcome back to that Heartbreak Hogs podcast. Sid, we had a victory this weekend. They looked good. We were we were concerned, but they looked good, man. I'm glad to see the dub.
No, very excited. Exciting to be a Hogs fan right now after this weekend. Basketball took a dub. Football took a dub. I mean, they both dominated.
Yep.
So very exciting things for Arkansas. And yeah, let's talk about this game, the
Yeah.
Mississippi State Arkansas game.
And before we get into it, for anybody that's new to our channel, this is the first video you're checking out. Please consider throwing up a thumbs up on our videos, subscribe to our channel. Um, if you're already a subscriber, you've already watched some of our videos, you know the drill. Hit the thumbs up, comment down below some of your thoughts for what happened in this game. We'd love to hear from you. Just wanted to get that out of the way real quick. It really does help us grow our channel. We are diehard Razorback fans. We love our Hogs. We love talking about college football, college basketball now that we're in season for basketball. So uh, please show us some love down below in the comments, subscribing to the channel, and hitting the like button. That being said, let's hop back into it. Sid, I was a little bit more. I don't know if suspicious is the right word, but like I was concerned. I had a little bit of concern. I didn't really know what team was going to show up on the field, and what we saw offensively. We'll get into the defensive stuff in a little bit, but offensively, 29 first downs. Now this is weird. 0-7 on third down. 2-2 on fourth. That's great. 675 total yards. 314 passing yards for Taylor Green. 23 of 29 yards per pass, 10.8 yards per pass. There was one interception. 361 rushing yards, 36 rush attempts, yards per rush, 10 yards. Arkansas had 7 penalties for 70 yards. The pick was the only turnover, so that's just one turnover. Time of possession 31 minutes compared to 28 minutes for Mississippi State. So offensively, just it was awesome. And we'll get to the defensive part next. And before we do, we'll read up the stats. But let's just talk about offensively here first. The biggest thing that sticks out to me is the passing. I think Taylor Green had about 70 yards rushing. Um, I don't have that pulled up.
Yeah,
Let's
that's
see.
correct. 79.
79. Okay, yeah, thanks for
Mhm.
verifying that. I was looking at the team stuff, team totals, but yeah, 79 yards rushing, great. It really does kind of show that he was probably a little banged up for the LSU game. So we'll just kind of have to see, what happens next. Makes you wonder, man, would that LSU game have been different if Talon had been healthy? It's great to see him passing the ball well. He threw some beautiful passes. Um, we've been hearing it all year long. Singleton, 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 Singleton. I was a big defender of Taylor Green for a long time. Last week, I still did believe I was a little rough on the Hogs, but last week I did still believe he was QB1. I just had my concerns about, how good our quarterback situation was. It's really good to see that he can pass the ball. He's back to running. That juke was awesome. So yeah, I'll let you kind of get to it. Braylon Russell, real quick before you go. Shout out to him. Great run as well, or runs, I should say. But now, yes, what were your thoughts on the game? What stood out to you offensively in this performance?
I mean, right. Overall, as you mentioned, I mean, a solid performance, a dominating performance, and really going into it, both were nervous,
Yep.
especially coming from that LSU game about well, just with the spread. Really, feel like we had a feeling we would win, but we were nervous about how we would win, or even if it would be a close game, and this certainly wasn't. They showed out. I did not expect us to dominate the way that we did in this game. I didn't expect Taylor Green to perform the way that he did in this game. Same with Braylon Russell. I mean, all these guys offensively dominated. I mean, Taylor Green looked like he was in his bag. Um,
Yeah.
he was passing, rushing, both. That was his best. I've been saying it all year. I want to see more passing from him,
Yeah,
better
you have
passing.
been.
So I was very happy to see that he was doing both,
Yep.
especially for this game. I mean, passing wise, he had 314 yards, five
Yeah.
touchdowns. This really is what I've been wanting to see this whole season is this is how you mess a defense up when
Yeah.
you can go between both running and passing,
Yep.
and they don't know what to expect.
Mhm.
They get thrown off guard, and we get wide open players like Luke has with that. And I don't know if
Yep.
that was drawn up, but I'm sure it was. But though that's when we get open wide receivers and tight ends that can make plays happen for us. Um, and yeah, listen, rushing ability, like we've known that's there,
Yep.
and it amazes me every time I see it. Don't get me wrong, but we've known that his Taylor Green's rushing ability has been there. So just seeing him doing both and kind of and him being 23 of 29 and passing was just very very cool to see. And then Bobby P, I mean, he was in his bag too.
Oh, yeah.
Um calling plays. I mean, this is where this is what makes me comfortable in Bobby P and being our offensive coordinator, and kind of getting back into it after that LSU game. And overall, the whole offense clicking. I mean, you could be right in that Taylor Green could have been hurt for that LSU game,
Mhm.
and that being the reason us not performing as well. But I just hope that that was the reason as well, and that coming into the going into the next week, or this week, we can do the same. A couple other guys that you just hadn't called out. Obviously, you called out Brandon Russell.
Yep.
Um, I mean, Andrew Armstrong having a spectacular season. There's not a whole lot that we can say about him that haven't already in our past videos. This
Mhm.
guy's a stud.
Yeah.
He's always able to make plays. Always, I mean, he's our number one guy. And then just cool to see our tight ends show up. Luke has just cool to see him.
Yeah. And
And
Paskey too.
and
I think that's how you say his
exactly,
last name. Um,
yeah,
the whole tight end room did awesome, man. It was so
right.
great to
So
see. Mhm.
exactly. And it was just offensively we clicked.
Yep.
And this was we kind of determined the pace of play and really everything dealing with it offensively.
Right.
Even Broden, our guy Broden, showed up for a couple
Yes,
receptions. I know you had
sir. Yeah, he
a
did.
outside of that, I mean, there's a couple things I want to talk about on defensive end. So I'll
Same
stop
here.
there. But offensive kudos, and I hope they can do the same. And we'll talk about that in our next video against Ole Miss. What they need to keep doing and the same, and what they can improve on as well. But yeah, I'll let you go ahead and on the defense a little bit.
Alrighty. Um, let's see here. So Mississippi State had 24 first downs. They were 5 of 13 on third down, and then they were 2 of 4 on fourth down. Their total yards 471. That's that's a decent amount of yardage. Passing 309. Their quarterback was 22 of 31. He was averaging 10 yards a pass. He threw 2 picks. Um, Mississippi State had 162 yards rushing. So they were a good amount better in the pass game than they were rushing. We were more balanced. Um, rush attempts, they did actually have more rush attempts than us. We had 36, they had 42. They averaged 3.9 compared to us at 10 yards per carry. They had 4 penalties for 48 yards. Um, and here's really what got Mississippi State: 5 turnovers, 3 fumbles, lost to Arkansas, 2 interceptions, and I think, oh yeah, so fourth down, that's 2 more turnovers technically. I don't know why it's not in the turnovers category, but that is considered a turnover. So technically, they had 7 turnovers, um, and we only had one because we made both of our fourth down conversions. Look, if it wasn't for those turnovers, this could easily be like 58-45. But the defense did whenever it really counted. There were some goal line situations where there was one, maybe two, that I felt like Mississippi State actually got robbed and that they actually scored a touchdown. But, you know, they didn't. And then our goal line defense took care of business and prevented them from getting a score. That's great to see. But 471 total yards is pretty concerning against the worst team in the SEC. Um, it's really great that we put up 675 total yards. That's great. Even against the worst SEC teams, it was good to see some offensive chemistry to get that back going, build the confidence back up because you're going to need it against Ole Miss because they do have a solid defense. But there are a little bit of red flags in here that it's like, this is the thing about our defense is there are times that our defense looks phenomenal. They look great. They look prepared. And then there are some things that are a little bit glaring. And this is one of them. That's a lot of yards. This is the first time we caused a lot of turnovers. So I will give them flowers for that. That's kind of been something I've been harping on them for is going like, hey, why aren't we forcing very many turnovers? So we'll just kind of have to see what the game plan is for Ole Miss. But if Ole Miss puts up these kind of yards, 471 yards, Arkansas may be in trouble. And Ole Miss should have a better offense than Mississippi State. So just kind of something to consider. But we got the dub. We're mainly going to be happy here about that. And the turnovers forced, the fourth down stops, those were good. So, Sid, what did you take away from this defensive part of the game?
Yeah, there's a whole lot of confidence that I got from the offensive side going into this next week
Mm-hmm.
versus the defensive side. And so I'll start off with I got positives and negatives
Yep.
on the defense. I'll start off with the positives. Positives like our D line, honestly, they performed pretty well for the most part. Our D line with Landon Jackson, actually had a really good game. There's a couple other guys, I believe it was Slaughter, Spence, all these guys that had decent games. I think what I'll move on from. I'll come back to the defensive line after, just for the positive.
Yeah.
But what kind of makes me nervous going into next week and even about this game, just like looking back on it, is like you said, it could have easily gotten out of hand where it would have been, we wouldn't have had that much time offensively if we didn't get those turnovers.
Right.
And there's couple guys to blame for that. And I mean, our DBs and safeties have to take the blame for this. Just leaving guys, they're giving them too much space. And then I forgot his name. I think hold on.
They were doing that
Um
against LSU
they
too.
were doing that LSU, and LSU, I saw it like live, and I was just like, we mentioned it that video, and going into Mississippi State, I better not see this again. And I saw it.
Sid
What's
saw it
his name?
again. Uh oh.
DB, he's number 13. What's his name? Marquise Robinson.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm calling him out because he's keeps doing this little wing action when he's clearly not making plays happen, and he's trying to get on a Sports Center highlight for the wrong reasons when he's clearly hasn't even made a highlight. When it's a
Dang, Sid.
when throwing a pass it
Rapping out here.
like, come on, the whole side doing that in front of your whole sideline, and when you clearly know that you got a pass interference coming at you, and
Yeah.
then still doing this is getting to me. I mean, LSU did that multiple times,
Yeah.
but I saw it this game as well. It's just how I don't understand. Uh, I just don't understand how you could do that,
Mhm.
and still be on the starting lineup. I mean, he's a solid player. He just, I think, gets overly cocky,
Yeah.
and kind of maybe that has to do with his age. He's too young and kind of not developed enough, but he's got to improve that. Like that, these are minor things that he needs to hold himself accountable for,
Yeah.
and kind of not showboat almost,
Right.
um,
Because it can come
but
back to bite you.
and it has
Just
so many
just
times,
ask the
right?
Chicago Bears.
Exactly. Um, so he's gotta play for the team, not for himself. Especially going into Ole Miss. Like, I don't care how much we're up by. I don't care how close the game is. I don't care if you made a solid play or if you think you made a solid play. Play
Mhm.
for your team. Don't play for yourself. And I can easily see him being a great player if he does that. And then just outside of moving on from him, and I hope he improves that. But moving on from him are DBs and just missed tackles, and um, we keep saying this all season. I mean, I know we held him to 25 points, but like you said, there's a lot of rushing yards and passing yards that they got, all because we gave them space and then we couldn't make easy tackles. We just
Yeah.
couldn't figure out how to wrap them around. And maybe it was that we were trying to go for turnovers. Maybe it was that we're trying to make some plays happen, but we've got to stop these easy 10-yard plays, 6-yard plays, 7-yard plays when they are even on third down and they have 10 yards to go. Realize that they're only really wanting to get that first down, not to give them space, and then making sure you're hitting them hard and making those tackles.
Right.
Defensively, that's got to improve. Um, and that's not what I saw from this game. It's somewhat. I mean, it's Mississippi State versus LSU, but if this keeps happening, I don't see it going into being a solid. I mean, I don't see it. I don't feel comfortable going into the future games,
Yeah.
if this keeps happening. Again, going back to the positives now, defensive line. I hope they keep doing um, what they did really on their end, and
Yeah.
getting after the quarterback, holding that line, making sure they don't get the fourth down conversions, and kind of holding that line, and not letting the quarterback have enough time, which we had also talked about going into this Mississippi State game. Just making sure you get after the quarterback, making sure you read the plays right, and yeah, I mean, I think I've said what I wanted to say about the defense, and I hope they are able to improve going on into next week.
Yeah. And just by the way, I'm pretty sure that Mississippi State was missing some guys up front. So that may have had something to do with our success at the defensive
Right.
line. Um, I feel the same way about the DBs as you do. That's why I'm very concerned about. I don't want to get too far ahead of like other games, but Texas, Quinn Ewers, a guy who's not afraid to throw it deep, not afraid to throw dangerous passes
Right.
downfield, not afraid to look downfield, and that's what kind of scares me is I just think that those DBs may get torched in that game. In this one, they got lucky in the red zone a couple times, and yeah, overall they played a great game. They won this game pretty convincingly. They scored 58 points, which is awesome. Um, but like you were mentioning some of the things on defense, it is a little concerning because against better competition, um, it's going to be tougher, and I I am a little concerned if like our offense has to come out there and win the game. I want our defense to be able to slow teams down and our offense just do its thing, get points on the board as it looks like that they're starting to get cooking, you know.
Right.
Um yeah. So, we'll just kind of have to see what happens. Overall, so excited that we got the win. I'm glad that we beat the spread. Um a lot of my friends that are not Razorback fans were texting me saying, "Hey, we saw Arkansas score and we saw some of that game. They looked good. They looked back at it." So hopefully, this was kind of to wake everybody up, get them back after it, and hopefully our DBs show up in the next one. So,
Yeah, and congrats to I think Taylor Green won
yep,
couple awards and SEC Player of the Week, and Braylon
yep,
Russell also winning Freshman Player of the Week.
freshman, yep.
That's pretty cool. So yeah, just build that confidence up and hopefully go into the next game and with the same confidence.
Yeah. Yeah, and yeah, definitely shout out to everybody that got awards this week. We're not trying to, rain down, you know, bring gloomy weather on a victory or anything. It's just let's point some of these things out and let's see if, you know, there's consistencies of bad habits, showing up repeatedly. And then let's see if there's more consistencies of these good things that we're doing. Like it was great to see the tight ends. We need to see more of that. We need to see more of Luke Has. We need to see more of Paskey. I think that's it. I really apologize
Mhm.
if I've been saying it wrong this time because I don't have. Let's see here. Yeah, Paskey. I think that's it. I think that's how you say it. Oh, one last thing I wanted to mention before we close this thing out, because we're gonna move on to the Ole Miss predictions and preview next. But I thought that it was really good that the offense played all the way through the game. They scored 17 points in the first quarter, 14 in the second, 10 in the third. It looks like they're slowing down a little bit each quarter, 17 in the fourth.
Yep.
Great finish. And by the way, our defense shut him out in the fourth quarter. So another thing that we can just a positive we can go off here is the defense they stopped the fourth down conversions. They stopped red zone conversions and they did a shutout in the fourth quarter. Let's just get some of that DB stuff cleaned up and let's go and beat Ole Miss in all four quarters in the next one. Anything else you want to add, Sid, before we head out of this?
Yeah, no, I think you wrapped it up. I just great game and um build that confidence up going into the next week. So let's talk about next week.
Sounds good, man. Again, guys, if you haven't already, please hit that like button, subscribe to this channel, comment down below what you think of the performance last week, how excited you are about moving forward to Ole Miss, and just any other thoughts you may have, any ideas that you want to put out there and want to comment from us about, ideas that you may have for other videos, other topics. Yeah. And of course, please check out our video whenever we do predictions. We have a challenge. Whoever loses the challenge for the weekly predictions of other games outside of Razorback Sports has to eat a spicy wing or some sort of pepper. We kind of just go episode by episode, but it's a lot of fun watching one of us suffer. It's been me the last couple times.
Usually Ross.
It's been me the last couple times. What sucks is that I had picked spreads. I got the team right, but the spreads were a little off. Anyway, not going to complain anymore about it. Um, we'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. That Heartbreak Hogs podcast is out.
See y'all.